Hello, everyone. My name is Grace Crockett.
I'm Kathryn Bone.
And I'm Haley Kissell.
To begin our problem diagnosis case, Kathryn will now give you a brief overview of the company as a whole.
Celeritas Inc. is a leading data communications company that was founded by Philip Boyer in 2003 and has grown to be one of the leading companies in enterprise network optimization. Recently, however, the organization has experienced a decrease in market shares and sales, and Boyer has brought on Carla Reese, an organizational consultant, to help identify the cause of this and aid in getting the company back on track. Key players in this case include Shauna Davis, the CFO and Senior Vice President of Business, and David Lloyd, Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing.
For our position statement, we believe that the overall problem for Celeritas is their inability to work together on an interdepartmental level and align themselves for the benefit of the company, ultimately resulting in lost time and lost revenue. With the executives arguing amongst themselves about the reason for their plateau in their growth, conflicts have risen and tensions have become high. Boyer believes that the principal problems are related to the high employee turnover and lack of morale and cooperation amongst divisions. However, we believe that the three biggest causes of this problem are the ineffective intervention strategies, poor departmental collaboration, and a lack of bandwidth amongst the executives. The overall contributor that has led to the inability to work together on an interdepartmental level can be due to the lack of bandwidth amongst the executives. This refers to the ability to take in, judge, and act on a mass amount of critical information at once. Leadership bandwidth, like any other important resource, is crucial in executing projects successfully and reliably. The lack of bandwidth within this company has led to confusion about goals and priorities, inconsistent decision-making, and poor coordination among the executives. There has been a strong disagreement about what the top goals of the company are, and the executive management team has struggled to tackle their daily tasks. Mike Harper, COO and Senior Vice President of Operations, states that they need specific goals and priorities in order to come up with a unified strategy. An organization can only act as fast as their leadership bandwidth. Strategic decisions are crucial to produce new products, and Boyer has been inconsistent in his explanations on decision-making. The inability to act and respond in a timely manner on the critical information needed to make proper decisions has led to ineffective efforts to deal with these substantial matters. Due to the inability to take in and judge the critical information needed to properly coordinate the management styles at Celeritas, there exists little interaction among the executives. Unless Boyer specifically dictates cross-division collaboration among the executive team on a particular project, it doesn't happen. Lloyd's inability to understand the complexity of the situation, paired with the mistrust among the VPs to accomplish the company vision, has led to the elevated ineffectiveness of collaboration. Overall, the lack of bandwidth is highly prevalent among this company, and developing a cohesive environment with preparations on how to tackle these tasks will improve the overall steadfastness.
The next contributor is the poor collaboration that runs rampant within Celeritas. This issue includes a misunderstanding of the company's direction, issues with Dave Lloyd, and Philip Boyer's poor communication. Celeritas cannot revive profits without getting the sales and engineering teams on the same page. Harper goes on to state that the problem is that some of our ideas are conflicting, so we end up working at odds with each other. We need specific goals and priorities to come up with a unified strategy. A team not working together is ineffective, yet a team that works against each other is substantially worse for a company. However, Dave Lloyd has a significant factor in the issue of poor departmental collaboration. While all departments struggled to collaborate, much of the problem stemmed from Lloyd's unapproachable demeanor. Ultimately, Boyer asked Lloyd to resign, which was a big first step towards reviving the company. Lastly, Boyer must adapt to the ways that different departments communicate. Shauna Davis had great insight in some of the collaboration issues between departments. As CEO, Boyer has a responsibility to assist in bridging the divide between departments. However, Boyer's background in engineering and computer science adds to the confusion when he creates a disconnect between him and the employees by only communicating in technical terms.
The final contributor to the overall problem is the ineffectiveness of the intervention strategy. The strategy was carried out in 3 parts: 90-minute one-on-one interviews, executive offsite discussions, and then involving the next level of management. While this was the case, only the first part was most effective, whereas the other 2 did not yield the proper results. This overall created a lot of wasted time rather than time spent uncovering and solving the issues presented in the one-on-one interviews. Secondly, Reese's strategy did not present a clarified vision that participants could understand, which led to the VPs to lose hope in the overall goal. Because the strategy was more involved with moving the company forward through solutions rather than allowing time for those VPs to voice their doubts about the solutions, the participants were not able to move past their preconceived hesitancies to see the overall goal. Lastly, the strategy ended up hurting Reese's credibility in the study, which in turn hurt the intervention as a whole. Although she was brought in by the CEO to help solve the company's problems, the almost hurried nature of the intervention failed to establish her authority with the participants. Similarly, when an individual asked if the proposed solutions would actually work, she supported her answer by comparing Celeritas to the other companies she had worked with, rather than supporting her answer with evidence that was unique to the organization. Overall, this contributed to an ultimate problem, resulted in the disconnect between the CEO, Reese, and the participants, which barred everyone from getting the results they needed to move forward. Ultimately, in combating both revenue losses and the overall problem of poor communication, the three issues presented in this case proved to be the most difficult to overcome. As the employees worked to align themselves as a unit in moving the company forward, this executive retreat identified key aspects hindering the company in reaching goals both within the organization and outside the four company walls. By fully addressing each of these obstacles, Celeritas will cohesively move the company towards success with heightened enthusiasm from each employee. By giving the VPs an increased level of responsibility and stake in decision-making, each member of the team will have more of an incentive to bring the company back to the top level of the field.
For our short-term recommendations, we began by suggesting that Celeritas reconduct the intervention. With Lloyd no longer working at the company, reconducting the intervention will allow for meaningful issues to emerge. This intervention should occur immediately and span across 5 days. Boyer should also develop a weekly routine that allows employees to reconnect outside of the office in order to establish a positive work culture. This would give them the chance to candidly share their ideas and connect in a different environment. These meetups should occur once a week, starting immediately to promote a comfortable and collaborative work environment. As head of HR, Shauna Davis should spearhead the immediate implementation of suggestion outlets. When weekly meetings occur, anonymous comments and concerns can be addressed. These outlets should appear in the form of anonymous suggestion boxes or sent through an anonymous form and should be available for employees as soon as possible.
For our long-term recommendations, we began by suggesting that Boyer, the CEO, should implement gradual delegation of responsibilities. To make the 5 senior vice presidents and the 21 lower-level vice presidents less apathetic in regards to the decision-making process, Boyer needs to delegate responsibility to each leader. Gradually offloading responsibilities onto the lower-level executives would build trust between the CEO and the employees, while also allowing the employees to feel more involved in steering the company in the right direction. Our second recommendation is to implement one-on-one weekly senior vice president meetings. By implementing additional meetings where the SVPs can meet one-on-one throughout the week, they can get a clearer understanding of how best to collaborate. Our final recommendation is to orient the team around a growth mindset. The executive team is strongly centered around a fixed mindset, and promoting change towards a growth mindset will allow the team to be open to course correction on their way to become the best company possible. Each of these short and long-term recommendations that will be adopted into Celeritas will allow for a positive transformation to occur. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoyed our Capstone project.